Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Bala Janaranjana Jamnatira Vanachari Jamnatira Vanachari Jayarada Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayarada Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Vijana Janaranjana Jamnatira Vanachari Jamnatira Vanachari Good morning, devotees. We are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam today, Canto 4, Chapter 25, verse number 29. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dirayet Nasta Prayesha Vadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamas Loke Bhakti Bhagavati Naistiki. Nasamvaruranyatma Bhuvisprik Purimimam Viravare Nasakam Arhasi Alankartum Madabra Karmana Lokam Param Shridiva Jagyapumsa. Not a sum of these, Varuru, O most fortunate one, Anyatama, anyone, Puvisprik, touching the ground, Purim, city, Imam, this, Viravarena, the great hero, Sakam, along with Arhasi, you deserve, Alankartum, to decorate, Adabra, glorious, Karmana, whose activities, Lokam, world, Param, transcendental, Shri, the goddess of fortune, Iva, like, Jagya Pumsa, with the enjoyer of all Jagyas. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O greatly fortunate one, it appears that you are none of the women I have mentioned, because I see that your feet are touching the ground. But if you're some woman off this planet, you can, like the goddess of fortune, who accompanied by Lord Vishnu increases the beauty of the Vaikuntha planets, also increase the beauty of this city by associating with me. You should understand that I am a great hero and a very powerful king on this planet. Purport. There is a difference between demonic mentality and devotional mentality. Devotees know perfectly well that the goddess of fortune, who is the constant companion of Vishnu or Narayan, cannot be enjoyed by a living entity. This higher sense of understanding is called Krishna consciousness. Nonetheless, everyone wants to become happy by imitating the prosperity of Narayan. In this verse, Puranjana states that the girl appears to be an ordinary woman. However, since he's attracted by her, he requests that she becomes as happy as the goddess of fortune by associating with him. Thus, he introduces himself as a great king with great influence, so that she might accept him as her husband and be happy as the goddess of fortune. To desire to enjoy this material world as a subordinate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is godly. The demons, however, want to enjoy this material world without considering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's a difference between a demon and a demigod. The word Bhuvisprik mentioned in this verse is very significant. When the demigods sometimes come to this planet, they do not touch the ground. Puranjana could understand that this girl did not belong to the transcendental world or the higher planetary systems because her feet were touching the ground. Since every woman in this world wants her husband to be very influential, rich, and powerful, Puranjana, to seduce the girl, introduced himself as such a personality. In the material world, whether one be a man or a woman, one wants to enjoy. A man wants to enjoy a beautiful woman, and a woman wants to enjoy a powerful, opulent man. Every living entity who possesses such material desires is called Purusha, an enjoyer. Superficially, it appears that the woman is the enjoyed and the man is the enjoyer, but internally, everyone is an enjoyer. Consequently, everything in this material world is called Maya. The verse again. O greatly fortunate one, it appears that you are none of the women I have mentioned, because I see that your feet are touching the ground. But if you are some woman of this planet, you can, like the goddess of fortune, who accompanied by Lord Vishnu increases the beauty of the Vaikuntha planets, also increase the beauty of this city by associating with me. You should understand that I am a great hero and a very powerful king on this planet. Om Agyanati Mirandusya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurumilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lagate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shivurun Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram Vanchakalpadariyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanavyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo. We continue with the allegory of King Puranjana, this imaginary king, which is every person. Because as we know, as we see, every person in the material world wants to enjoy. Here Prabhupada says that the man wants to enjoy a beautiful woman, and a woman wants to enjoy a powerful, opulent man. So perhaps that's why we see women marrying old, ugly men, that they have money or they have influence. It's rare that we see men marrying ugly women because even if they are powerful and they have money. So this is the psychology that we come with. But ultimately, everybody wants to enjoy. And the beginning of Prabhupada's purport, there is a difference between demonic mentality and devotional mentality. We see it in the story of Putana, how Putana, who was sent by Kamsa to kill Krishna, she disguised herself as a beautiful maiden, and she somehow or other found her way right into the inner chambers of Yashoda's quarters. And she was so eager, and she was so pretty and so eager to feed Krishna. And so she had smeared her breast with poison, then nobody would survive. And Krishna saw that. He could understand everything, of course, being the Supreme Person, and decided to accept. So one may ask oneself, well, wait a second, that's a demonic mentality. If you can define it, that's demonic. Someone wants to kill God. As a child, she didn't even know that Krishna was God. She just saw an infant and wants to kill him. That is demonic. People who kill children are demonic. But Krishna didn't take it as such and offer Putana the opportunity to become his mother. That's how liberal and kind Krishna is, that he will accept the demonic mentality as devotional mentality. This is what Ravindra Sarup in one of his writings called Putana Bhakti. It's the idea of being dedicated and devotional in one's pursuit to kill God. So Putana, of course, she got more than what she bargained for, because Krishna sucked the life air out of her and killed her. But he accepted her twisted, murderous mentality as love. What to speak of the devotees who are actually struggling to love Krishna without any of these extraneous ideas, such as killing God, just like he secular humanists, Ayn Rand and all those guys, that they think that man, or man in the generic sense, not in the gender particular sense, is the center of all things. So there is no God, there is just humanity, and we are at the center of things. And they go a little further. So, but all they do is to search for God to be able to kill him when they find him. So that's the idea. You basically have this murderous mentality. Let's find God and kill him, just like Putana. But we have news for everyone, that they are going to be killed themselves. This is like picking a fight with a big guy that is an expert in martial arts. You're going to be kicked. You're going to lose. Why would you pick a fight with someone who is much more powerful than you, much stronger than you? So if you're picking a fight because you're an imbecile, you're a bully, then pick it with a smaller guy, because you may have a chance to succeed. You don't pick a fight with someone who's a lot more powerful than you. So to those with this envious mentality, secular humanists, Putana-like people, please, if you have to pick a fight, don't pick a fight with God, because you're going to be smashed. You're going to be killed. However, some, of course, there are very few, that they pick a fight with God and they win in the sense that Krishna gives them more than what they deserve, like Putana, like Kaliya. All these demons, and nowadays we just have small demons, small little Puranjanas, that they think themselves bigger than what they are. They don't understand the laws of nature. They don't understand karma. They don't understand anything. Like the ruler of a distant, large country in Europe, he thinks he's Puranjana. Basically, he has mistresses and he has army, and he just thinks he's the thing. And he's going to be smashed by material nature because he's playing with fire. You cannot say that the result of one's activities will be the same if one has a demonic mentality than a devotional mentality. You may see saints and sadhakas and munis struggle, but their struggle is exercise in their path back to Godhead. Whereas the struggles of those with demonic mentality are just simply a waste of time in their path, which is inglorious and earmarked for hell. So there is a big difference. People ask, well, this person is suffering, and because it's not a devotee, but what about this person who is a devotee and he's also suffering? The devotees are under the jurisdiction of Krishna, so Maya is not allowed to pierce them with her trident. The trident is Adhyatmika klesha, Adhibhautika klesha, Adhidaivika klesha. All three miseries. The miseries are Adhyatmika. Who can deny it? I was talking to some visitors that came here during the weekend. A couple, very nice couple, young, in their mid-20s. And when I was talking to them, I was assuming that their mind were disturbed and giving them trouble, even though they gave me no signs of it. They were very nice, very polite, smart. But I started speaking, saying, yes, coming from a city, your mind must be disturbed. There is so much traffic, there is crime, there is noise, there is pollution. People are resentful or afraid of each other or mean to each other. And even without that, your mind is torturing you, just talking to you all day, blah, 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 nonsense. And they were, yeah, of course they do, because everybody's suffering. As Thoreau said, the masses are living lives of quiet desperation. This is the destiny of those who don't pursue spiritual life, is either loud desperation or quiet desperation. What you can choose is the volume of your desperation, nothing else. So fortunately, this couple were open, and I introduced him to Kirtan, and then gave him beads, taught him how to chant. They took a Bhagavad Gita by the kindness of Benu Prabhu. So hopefully we'll take advantage of this opportunity. And their clock will stop. Maya, who takes care of everybody in the material world, from the subatomic particle to the blue whale, they're all suffering because of Maya is putting them under her spell. The whale thinks it's a whale, so that's a cause for suffering. You know, it's running from the Japanese and the Norwegians, and we are running from the IRS and the government. So this is simply a different choice of enemies, but everybody's suffering. So what to speak of internally? The Atmika Klesha. Maya has this fantastic trick, even without having other people around. Just by listening to your mind, you are guaranteed to suffer. And also from a body, not just the mind. The intelligence is faulty. We commit mistakes. We have a tendency to be in illusion. We have defects built into this system. And then the body gives so much pain. People think they are able to enjoy, but there's very little enjoyment that comes out of this body. Very little, really, compared to the pain that we can receive from this body. It's practically nothing, literally. Hospitals are full of people who realize that the body is not a source of pleasure. And then there is Adibhautika Klesha, the misery that is experienced through the interaction of others with ourselves, such as other living entities, insects, and other people. This other people, whether mentally or physically, can easily harm us, change our mood, make us miserable, depress us. Anybody who grew up in a dysfunctional family knows very well how much misery one's relatives can cause. Just like if you become a devotee and your parents are not devotees, then and you try to help them, of course, this is somewhat fruitless in general, as parents won't listen to their children, because that's the order of nature. And the parents know all the children's buttons. So even if you've been practicing bhakti yoga for a long time, you go home to your parents, and your parents, and you have achieved the, close to the mode of goodness as you can get, and you're peaceful and serene and humble and tolerant. How your parents can change that in a second, because they know your buttons. And well, they created them. That's why they know them. And they can press one of those buttons and agitate you like anything. Why do they do it? To regain control, because everybody tries to be the controller, the enjoyer. Suridam Sarvabhutanam, the friend of everyone. Although that's Krishna's position. And as Prabhupada declared, there is no peace unless one understands that Krishna is the one occupying that position. So these are miseries caused by others. There is romance that probably can cause the most misery. If your heart is broken, it's like having a porcelain vase. Once you break it, yeah, you can glue it, try to put it together, but it's not like the original. So you give the power to others so they can stomp all over your heart, whether it be friends, whether it be girlfriends, boyfriends, parents, bosses, whatever they are. So you may think that you can put your happiness in someone else's hands, but you never know how this is going to end up. So this is also one of Maya's tricks, that we relinquish this pursuit of happiness by putting it in the hands of others. They think, if I have this kind of relationship with this person, I will be happy. No, it's not going to work. Happiness depends on you, and is internal, is through cultivation, is getting the machete of the holy name and cutting all those vines and trees and bushes and all this entanglement, this Gordian knot of material desires. So some may be able to do it gradually, and some may be able to do it through the process of detachment. And it is easier to understand detachment if one understands that we don't own anything. Nothing is ours. So all these things that we are attached to is false, because they're not ours. Whatever you're attached to, that is part of the material world, whether it be objects or subjects, is not yours. So what are we really renouncing when we are giving up things? We are actually renouncing someone else's property, Krishna's property. So it shouldn't be very difficult, philosophically at least, to understand this is not mine. This house is not mine. This shirt is not mine. This wife is not mine. This world is not mine. Nothing in it I can keep. At the time of death, this will be proven to you. And then there is adidaivika klesha. Just as if the miseries of one's body and mind and other people's bodies and minds wasn't enough, we get the miseries caused by natural phenomena. Daivika means demigods, but we understand it as natural phenomena because we don't see who is behind it. But I was surprised to find in the second canto of the Bhagavatam that there is a goddess for smallpox. Her name is Sitala Devi. How about that? So everything is personal. So you think rain is impersonal? No. Indra sends rain. and smallpox is also under the control of someone. So everything is sent our way to discourage us from making a nest, which is what our tendency is. Wherever we are, we want to make a nest. We want this to be the kingdom of heaven. Basically, the kingdom of God without God, with us at its helm. We want to be installed as kings or queens. So Adidavika Klesha, you can look around, just go to the Weather Channel. Tornadoes, hurricanes, typhoons, powerful winds, hail, snowstorms, blizzards, excessive rain, floods, fires, volcanoes, earthquakes. Shall I go on? This is Adidavika Klesha 101. We experience the miseries that material nature sends back at us because of our sinful activities. So no area on this planet is safe because we are trying to take advantage of the earth. We want to enjoy the fruits without offering it to Krishna. And that's why we suffer. We lived in paradise on earth, Santa Barbara, California, for 24 years. And Santa Barbara, if you pick 10 days out of the year, any time of the year, whenever, and you look at the weather forecast, it will look exactly the same. 70s, sunny, and maybe 50s in the early morning, from midnight to 5. And then it's 70s and sunny. It's a perfect weather. It's a beautiful place. The mountains and the ocean are within 20 minutes of each other. It's temperate. People are nice. But I remember one year that we have 4 major fires that consume hundreds of thousands of acres. Within sight, we saw the fires. We were actually just waiting to evacuate. We may have had to, if it wasn't by Krishna's mercy, we would have had to probably leave town. And you can see it on top of your car, ashes. The air is unbreathable. We had to spend, I think, a week or maybe 2 weeks with the windows and the doors closed because the air outside was not breathable. And what happens when there is a fire? It burns the trees to the ground and also the roots. So the soil becomes unstable. So when the rain comes, and it is Southern California, so it doesn't come very often, maybe a week, a year or so. But when it comes in buckets. And the trees that have damaged roots cannot hold the soil in place. So there are mudslides. They're so powerful that in this place called Montecito, which is part of a Santa Barbara complex, there's a few towns, Goleta, Isla Vista, Montecito, Carpinteria, and Santa Barbara. Montecito is where the super rich live, like all the actors and directors and writers. They have mansions there. You can't see them even from the street. In Montecito, there was a fire nearby, and then the rain came into buckets, and then that provoked mudslides, and there were rocks, enormous rocks on the mountain, and everything came tumbling down. And the rocks were very large. I'm talking about 10 to 20 foot rocks coming down, and they went through houses. And people were advised, leave, it's dangerous, but they didn't. So just one I think it was a Friday evening, the rocks came down with the rain, and it created a river full of rocks coming down the hill that went through houses and people and cars and everything and trees, and just basically decimated the town and blocked the tunnels. And it went all the way on the freeway, which is the only connection between the north and the south there, was blocked by rocks and trees and debris for 2 weeks. We were stuck in LA and couldn't go home. They had to clean up a mile of freeway with trees and rocks and everything else. Plus, they had to find the people that were tossed by material nature and kill over 20 people in the richest neighborhood, one of the richest neighborhoods in the country and in the world. So you're not safe from Adidaivica Klesha, no matter where you hide. Maya is going to find you, and you're going to have to pay the bill. This Maya's collection agency is very meticulous and precise. They'll find you. Prabhupada gave the example of karma, as there was an incident in India where there were 3 kids sleeping in a room on the floor, on the ground, and a snake came in and bit the middle one, slithered past the first one, bit the middle one, and kept going, went over the other one. So no matter where you hide, Maya will find you and take care of you. Therefore, the thing that we can do is to understand our divine nature and try to cultivate that, because our material nature has a beginning and an end. And no matter how much pleasure you think you can get out of this material world, there's a price to pay. And as we say, with Maya, Maya gives you the worst possible credit card, because a credit card, if you have a debt, you pay the principal and the interest, but mostly you're paying interest until eventually you get to the principal. So the numbers will change. But with Maya's credit card for enjoyment is you always pay the interest and you never end up paying the principal. So you're always in debt. So Maya is a loan shark that may allow you some so-called material happiness, but you will pay so much. You pay for it like there's nothing left, and you will still continue to pay, and you're still in debt. So this Puranjana story is an illustration of an everyday person who wants to enjoy and thinks, oh, you will, I can see you're not the goddess of fortune because your feet are touching the ground, but still, I'm the ideal man, so we can make a fantastic couple and enjoy like anything. This is the product of lust, which is the opposite of love, because love is meant for God. Well,